Okay, it's 8 a.m., so we will make a start. And a very good morning to you all. Thanks for coming along, or good afternoon, or good evening, as is the case for you guys. Thanks for joining our third webinar, and I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and are happy to be back at work. So today's webinar is package templates, and it's probably going to take us about an hour, as the other two have. If you're new, if this is the first time you've joined us, thanks for coming along. You've got a chat window as part of your console on the right where you can enter questions, and we'll get to the questions at the end of the meeting. Mark may join us at that point and jump in and answer some questions if I can't. But feel free to pop any questions in the chat, and you can also chat amongst yourselves and exchange some ideas if you like. Okay, package templates. We introduced maybe about 3 years ago. It was in 4.6. A lot of people use them who are using iOS. Not everybody's using them. I hope end of today more people use them, because I think they're very valuable in helping your iOS offering, how things look to your customers. And they also add a couple of little functionality points. I will point out, and I will put in a caveat straight away, that some of the things I'm going to talk about over the next hour will become redundant when we introduce iOS 3.0, as we're calling it, in the second half of this year. So a couple of those things that we're going to talk about today will be superseded by a better method. However, between now and then, you may want to use them, and this webinar will come in useful. And even with iOS 3, you'll still have package templates. You'll still be making them, still be using them. Just some of the things you may do with package templates, you'll be doing another way with iOS 3. So keep that in mind. What are package templates? Well, basically, they are a template that you use to display or depict your packages in iOS. They're a template you make in Neopack. You can pop things on that template, images, text, graphics, all that sort of stuff. With the package templates, you make them in Neopack and you use them to display your packages in iOS. It's one of the ways you can display packages in iOS. The templates themselves are just made in Neopack. You can use them for pre-ordering and post-ordering, whether you've got images or not, which makes them very useful. And you design them as you do any other template. All those template objects are available to you, the image holes, the text objects, graphics, labels, and importantly, other products like a portrait product, the comp, the groups. You can call other products onto your package template, and that becomes very useful for one of the techniques we'll use later on when we do the design your own, a la carte, build your own packages using package templates. So before we get into the nuts and bolts of it, a little bit of a history lesson. We'll just go down memory lane for a couple of minutes and to see the different ways we can present packages in iOS. So in the beginning, we created the ability just for you to use graphics to upload to iOS, and so something like that. Okay, so that's just a fixed graphic. That's just a JPEG you uploaded to depict your package. It's not using live rendering. That is not her image. That's just a JPEG. That's just a fixed graphic, and that was good. And it's one way of showing your packages, and it was the way that you depict your packages before you have images. That's fine, and that's still available. We've also got, as you know, live rendering, where the software will use the subject image inside the products. And you can see that is her image there. And you can see her image has been played inside the templates. On the left, we've got her templates for her portrait products, and we've got her real comp this time, not just a static preview of a comp, digital download product. And the one on the right's a bit of a mystery, that one with her little name on it. That is actually the template you used, that will be used for her water bottle. One of the products is a drink bottle. So you can see there is a fallibility with live rendering in that it doesn't quite look, even though it's got a wow factor of wow, you can see your image inside the products. Overall, it doesn't necessarily look the best way. It's not necessarily the best way for you to depict your offering. But we can use customer versions of templates. Now, these are not package preview templates, customer versions of templates. We did this many years ago, and customer versions of templates apply to Neopak layouts only. For each Neopak template, you can make a customer version, and that's what the customer sees online. And this is what you're seeing now for the package of portraits, that portrait template, which had an 8x10, 2, 5, 7, and 4 little ones. We've made a customer version of that template, and that's what you're seeing now, which visually is nicer. The other template, the real normal template, normal version is used for printing, customer version gets displayed. And likewise for the water bottle, that makes far more sense to the customer to see that. They know they're getting a water bottle, and it's still live rendering. She still sees her image inside on the water bottle. Makes more sense, and they look good, and that's fine, and we did that for many years for customer versions. And then finally though, if you look when you combine customer versions inside the package, it's still not quite ideal. You can see the customer version now on the left of the portraits and the customer version of the drink bottle on the right, but still not necessarily the best way to depict this package, because they're still just arranged one after another. You don't have sort of arrangement control. Composites don't have customer versions. Groups from Neo Group don't have customer versions. Digital products don't have customer versions, nor do retouch products. So we came up with package templates, or package preview templates, which is actually their formal name. And that's what you see here. That's what you see here. That's a package preview template where you get the best of both worlds. So we've made a template in Neopak, and we've put image holes on it which render live, so the customer does see their image inside the products, and at the same time we've organized things so it's much more pleasing. And this is a package template, or a package preview template, and will be the focus of what we're going to talk about over the next 50 minutes or so. So the question is, that's roughly what they are. How do you make them? Well, it is actually pretty easy. They are essentially a very easy thing. You make the template in Neopak. You've all made templates in Neopak. You know what you're doing. You assign that template to a package. So you've made a template. You say, I'm going to use it for package A. I'm going to use this one for package X, and so forth. And then at the upload stage, you tell TSIOS to use package templates by selecting the appropriate option. Use preview if defined. So it is really quite as easy as 1, 2, 3. Let's make a simple package template. Go to my template designer. So you make them in Neopak, File, New, and it is the bottom option, Package. It's a template used by iOS to preview a package. So you end up with a blank canvas. So here's where you should stop and think straight away. Have a look at my screen, have a look at my template. The units are abstract. It's like making an item. We are not saying that this thing is inches or millimeters, and you can see I've just put in 2 and 1, so it's certainly not 2 millimeters by 1 millimeter or 2 inches by 1 inch. I've just put in an aspect ratio. Basically that's what those things are. It's an aspect ratio, not an absolute size, because this thing is just going to be displayed online. It's never going to get printed. They don't get printed. So what should you put in here? What aspect ratio? That's up to you, but I suggest you match the aspect ratio for your package preview sizes in iOS, and that's set in your settings.ini file in iOS, which everybody has access to with your SFTP account. I'll show you mine. So for my training website, which we're using today, this is my settings.ini file, and you see right in the middle there's the entry package view sizes, and I have 240 by 120, 320 by 160, 640 by 320. You see there's 3 sizes there. They're each in a 2:1 aspect ratio. They are the 3 sizes, the 3 boxes in iOS in which packages get displayed. I'm giving it an area of 640 by 320 in some circumstances, 320 by 160 somewhere else, and 240 by 120 somewhere else again. Let me show you where. So here's my site. That main package, the main package that you see there, that main area, is 640 by 320. That's what I've set in my ini file. So this area where you see the package preview, for me, is 640 by 320. The next size you saw there, the smaller size, which I've forgotten already, let's have a look, 320 by 160. That's the size of the packages in the film strip down here. Okay, so this size down there in the film strip, that's 320 by 160, still in the 2:1 ratio. And the very small size that we saw, 240 by 120, that's how the package is depicted in the cart once we hit something and add to cart. So there are 3 different places we display packages, and we set the size that's available, the area that's available for them to display in iOS with the ini file. So knowing that these areas are all in the 2:1 ratio, it makes sense from a design point of view to make my package template in the same aspect ratio, because then it fits nicely in that area. It'll fit perfectly without any wasted space, top and bottom. If I make it fatter, higher, wider, it's got to shrink it in the long side to fit it in. If I make it skinnier, we're not making full use of the space, and we're not maximizing the impact of seeing them. So I recommend, although it's not obligatory by any means, I recommend when you make your package templates, you make them in the same aspect as you've specified in your ini file. Everybody has access to that ini file, and you can change those values to anything you like. If this is foreign to you and you don't know what to do, certainly Mark or I can change them for you or show you how to do it yourself. I wouldn't go any bigger than what I have put in, 640, for this version of iOS, because then it starts to break other things in the design in the CSS. So 640 is probably as wide as you want it. If you want to make it deeper, if you want to make it 640 by 480, so it's a 4.3 or a 3.2 aspect, that's up to you. So that was your first design tip. Match your aspect ratio of the package template to your site. And then you just put things on there, just like any other template. Image holes, as many as you like. Text, both static and dynamic. Then we've got labels, and you can call any of your fields. And graphics. And we can browse and put whatever graphics you may want on the template. So here I'll pause and I'll give you design tip number 2. When putting graphics on these package templates, these preview templates, keep in mind you're never going to print it. The only place you see them, the only place they're used is in iOS when the customer looks at them. With that in mind, so whatever screen resolution is, 96 dpi, whatever, at the biggest we're going to display these things is 640 by 320. With that in mind, no point putting a high res graphic on there. There's no point putting this graphic on there at a 300 dpi 20 meg file if I'm only going to be seeing it on a screen. So resample your graphics before you put them on. Make copies of them. If you need those same graphics for printing, have the big size on your printing template, but on the package templates, resize them, make them small. I can't stress that enough for 2 reasons. The package template itself will be smaller, so therefore it uploads quicker, but then the preview online, when you see it, it will render quicker. It'll pop up faster because it's not having to resample a huge file, a huge graphic down to screen resolution to display it. The rendering is faster. So when the customer puts in their shoot key, the packages will appear quicker. Basically, that's what it comes down to. So resample them before you put them on. You may think it's not that big a deal, but it adds up because when a customer puts in a shoot key, we try to render as many of the packages straight away so that when they scroll through them, they're all pre-rendered. They're all ready for them to see. So if you've got lots of graphics on lots of templates, we've got to wait for them all to render. So I can't stress enough, resample graphics before you put them on your package template, and then if you do modify them, come into the file menu and do a close and compact when you're saving them, which will crush any space out of them, any wasted space. So the other thing you can put on these templates, worth noting, is using the add page object. Add page calls in another page, another product. We can call in a product, we can call in a comp, or we can call in a group. By calling in a product, if I tick that and say number 3, it will pull in whatever my third product is in that package. If I put in 2, it'll pull in whatever the second product is in my package. You may want the memory mate to show in here, or a calendar or a bookmark. If you look at my offer, so if we go to package 1, for example, the third product number 3, is a calendar. So if I put the add page object on the package template and call in product number 3, this package template will render their calendar on the package template, which is really sweet, really nice. And in the same way, or we can just pull in a comp, a subtype version, or a group from Neo Group, a subtype version. So the add page comes in useful. You'll see how through this meeting. So I'm not going to make a new template from scratch. Easier if I show you one that I prepared earlier, like all good cooking shows. So let's have a look at, this one. Okay, so here's one I prepared earlier. You can see image holes. We know how to put them on templates easy. You can see there's fixed graphics on there. The plus symbols are all graphics that have been resampled, as is the red starburst, the blue boxes. There's some text on there. This is all fixed text, no variable text, but it's just a template that we've made in a 2:1 ratio. And have a look on the right-hand side. We've used the add page object twice. Here we're calling a comp. So when the customer puts in their shoot key on this package template, if there is a composite for them, they will see their comp. The one on the top, we're calling in product number 3. So up there, you will see product number 3, which in our offer for this package is a calendar. So let's have a look how this template plays. Actually, but before that, to get it to work, we need to set it in TSAdmin. Okay, so for each package, you go to the online tab, and in the preview section, when you double click in there, which is where you would normally set a static graphic, if you're using a static graphic, and you select the bitmap image object, the one in the middle, preview template. You select that and you simply put in the name of the package template without extension. So that's how we assign the package template that we make to a package. And we do that for each of the packages in our offer. Note, not all the packages need it. You don't have to do this for every package, but you can see I've done it for quite a few. Just enter the name of the package template without extension in there. That's how you assign the template to a particular package. Then when you upload, step number 3, you go to image handling. When you upload or refresh image handling, you need the option there, use preview if defined. Quite useful. What that one will do is, as it says, it will use the preview if you've set one, be it a fixed graphic or a package template. If it doesn't have one, it will go through and do live rendering. So use preview if defined. That is step number 3. That's the easy one to miss. And I know I've done it. I've done things with package templates. They don't seem to be working, and it's because I didn't have that option checked when I uploaded. Use preview if defined, calls in the package template. If there's not one there, it will do the live rendering. So there are your 3 steps to get them working. And then let's have a look at the one we made earlier. So I'll just grab a shoot key. Pop that in. Okay, so for this kit, the premium package, You can see that's what it looks like just with plain live rendering. No package template involved yet. It's okay, it works. You can see that's him. You can see that's really his comp. You can see it's a rotated comp, and you can see the calendar product and the digital product as well. But we can do better. We do better with package templates. So no package templates. Compare that to with the package template, and in my opinion, that just looks a whole lot better. We're depicting the same set of products. And notice on the right where we used add page, we're playing in his particular comp and his calendar. We haven't added the calendar to the template. We just added a add page object and called in product number 3, and product number 3 happened to be the calendar. So compare that again. Just normally, just by default, the default behavior, live rendering is good versus package template looks nicer, in my humble opinion. And it gives you a bit of functionality as well. So that's how you pop them in. We need to look at some more design tips. And by all means, if you guys have got some design tips, pop them in your chat, let us know. You've used them more than we have, some of you guys. Share your tips if you've got them. And we can talk about them at the end of the meeting. So we've already talked about the aspect ratios issue. So if you match the aspect ratio of your package template with your site's package preview size, you're optimizing the space that's available in iOS. And I think that's a good thing. Certainly number 2, resample any graphics before adding them to the template. Can't stress that enough either. It will make your life easier when you're uploading, but also a better user experience for your customer because the packages will render faster. And just comparing package templates to normal live rendering, if you're doing heavy graphics things like you're doing sports and there's lots of graphics or whatnot on your printing templates and you're just using live rendering, that will take time on screen to render because they are the actual printing templates. For that reason, package templates are better as well, not just from a design point of view, but from a rendering point of view. Because on your package template, you can have all the same graphics on there, but have them at a lower res so that they render faster online. Now, number 3, where possible, put the graphics directly onto the template. Now, this flies in the face of what I've said for years and years. Dino has always said, try to use labels, don't put graphics directly on templates if you can avoid them so that they're generic. What's going on here? Has he gone mad? Has he been drinking? No and no. You need to understand that in iOS, things behave a little bit differently. You guys in your labs and your studios have loose templates. They're just loose files and loose graphics, JPEGs, whatnot, PNGs. When you upload, we grab those, but at the other end, on the server, you don't have loose templates and you don't have loose files. Everything gets sucked into the database. Everything is saved in the database. Your graphics end up as binary data in a graphics table. Your templates, the snapshot of your template, the image of your template is saved in a table in iOS on your server. So if the graphic is already on the template, all we have to do is go to that table, the templates table, grab the template, and we're ready to show it. On the other hand, if the graphic is being called by a field, we've got to look at the field, find the value of the field, and that value might be background2.jpg. So then we've got to go to the graphics table and look up the graphic that's called background2, extract the binary data, bring it over to the template, plonk it on, and render it. So you can see there's more steps involved. So from an iOS point of view and from a package template point of view, again, it is better to put the graphics on the template. And I want to stress, I'm only talking about preview templates in iOS, not your printing templates. Again, this will help your packages render faster online, which is a good thing. So where possible, put the graphics directly on your package preview template. Consider, I hope that made sense, consider live rendering for some image holes only. What do I mean by that? Well, let me grab another key and I'll show you. copy, change, shoot. And go to view all. And scroll right down to here. This is a very nice package template. Thank you, Sandra and Ryan, for sending it to me. Now, what I wanted to talk about, if you have a look at that package template, it is live rendering. That's really that cute little girl. There are 23 image holes on it, 23 subject images on it. And we're showing what they're getting as stacks of prints, which is good, looks good. I really like the design. But do we need the live rendering? Do we need 23 image holes? I would think the customer hopefully would get the idea of what they're getting without having to live render each and every image hole. So consider putting the image hole only on the front node of the stack rather than every single one. And that's what I did for the next one. Okay, so here only the first image of the stack is using an image hole. The other images behind the stack, they are actually just fixed graphics. They are a small fixed graphic resampled, okay? And the customer gets the idea that they're getting the stack of prints. Now, you guys will do a better job than me in picking the right. I should have picked a blue graphic to match the background of this particular shoot. But you get the idea. So here we're only rendering now half a dozen images, not 23. So this package will render quicker. And if you have lots of these over your offer, it all adds up. And that's what we're on about. These are only small differences. Individually, are only small differences. But because your offers may have 15 or 50 packages, it adds up. So these are the small things that you can do to help. So that was design tip number 4. Finally, if you use labeled image holders on your package template, you can end up using the package template for pre-ordering and for post-ordering, whether you've got the images or not. If I go back to the sample template, so see where we've got the subject image holes, they're on top. Underneath that is a label that says at default image, a label that says at default image. So that's calling a field called default image, which if we go to details mode, there is a, grab that, there is a field called default image, and in there I have imported a picture of a girl that we have model release for. So what happens is when there are images, because the top layer of these nodes have an image hole, when the subject has an image, because you photographed them, you'll see their real image. When they don't have images, because you haven't photographed them yet, this node, the image hole, is blank, and you will see the default image underneath it. And that makes the template usable for whether you've got images or not, which is a good thing. And again, I'll show you. Just quickly grab a shoot key. So here we don't have images for Robin Banks. This subject doesn't have images. So you can see things are blank there. But in the next version, where we put the label underneath the image holes, you see the default image because she doesn't have an image. Then when we do photograph her, and refresh the job with images, the same template will just show her image on top. What that saves you having to do is in TSIOS, you don't have to change. You don't have to come in here and go from a fixed preview over to live rendering. You can just leave this on use preview if defined. And if you have images, fine, it will use the image holes. If it doesn't, it goes through and uses the default image, that's the label underneath. Now, here's the caveat though. As I said earlier, some things will change in iOS 3, and this is one of those things. In iOS 3, and hopefully earlier, we'll have the concept of a default image that you'll set in TSIOS on a job-by-job basis. and it will just use that without the need for a label. So if a subject image is there, it will use it. If it doesn't have one, it will use the default image that you've specified in iOS without you having to add a label. It'll just play it in the image hole. So this is something that will change with iOS 3. But for now, this is a way of using the package templates for both pre and post ordering. So let's keep going. Some of the uses of package templates. Well, the main use we've talked about already. They just look nicer, and we can use the same template for pre and post ordering. That's good. But some of the uses you may not have thought about, or some of the reasons I think you should use them. You can get consistency with your printed materials and your brochures. I've turned off the camera, but I'm holding in my hand an order envelope from a customer, thank you, which I actually did scan. So here's an order envelope which goes out to the kids, and they can order from this, and we use this for their paper orders, or it could be on your website, on your company website. These are the packages we're offering and that sort of thing. And someone's gone to great pains to make this look nice. It's been designed, I think, by a graphic artist, not a photographer. And you can see each package there, and there's a bit of effort involved. Why break that with iOS? Why then not have the same concept in iOS? It makes sense to me to make your packages in iOS look like your printed material and your brochures and your paper order envelopes. It gives you consistency. It makes the customer feel comfortable because they can relate. They can relate from the order envelope that they may be holding in their hand, saying, oh yeah, I like the third one down, that one that's got the orange star. Which package is that? Oh yeah, there it is online. I can see it because it looks the same. So you get a consistency with package templates, with your printed materials and your brochures, and a consistent look across your offer online, which I think also looks good. If I go back here and get a final shoot key, you see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here you can see I've made my package templates to match the order envelope graphics. So you get a consistency. As we go from package to package, you see there's a theme. There's a nice consistent feel as I look through the packages. You can brand them, to your company, etc., rather than just using the live rendering, which is just showing your printing templates, which can look yucky. And even if all you're doing is one single product, like a digital, by using a package template, by making it in the right aspect ratio, there's a consistency in the look. Same with retouching, etc. So I mean, that's just me, and this is a philosophical point, but I like package templates for that reason, to give a consistent look across your offer online and to have it match other material, your printed materials and brochures and whatever that you've got elsewhere. So there's a theme going through everything. Bottom two uses. Okay, zooming in on personalized wallets and traders. At training, you will have seen me over the past couple of years with prompt fields where you can customize your products. And I've displayed a trader card back where the customer's gone online and entered their trader card information. And I've used a package template to make the thing look bigger so you can see what they're entering. I'll show that same concept here, but I'm going to do it with wallets instead of the trader card because we're in a school scenario here. We have a package that is simply 16 wallets. Let me get to it. Okay, 16 wallets. I don't think the customer would have any doubt what they're getting there. They're getting 16 little prints, but they can personalize them with their name. If I hit add to cart, and they can put in their preferred name, whatever that may be. Okay, but it's small. This is the printing template, and obviously each wallet is small. He can barely see what's on there. He can barely read what's on there. On the other hand, if we make a package template and be a bit creative with it, we can show the same thing. Okay, 16 wallets, and you can see we've magnified one of the views of one of the wallets, so that when we hit add to cart and put in maybe a different name, preferred name, it's far more obvious. You can read what you've written now because that image node is better. And hopefully, again, the customer will be more comfortable ordering this product because they can see exactly what they're getting. They can see the text that they've entered. And I hope your customers realize here they are getting 16 wallets, and you're not actually offering them 16 wallets, an 8x10, and a bonus free magnifying glass as part of the package. So, but I'm sure some people probably would. Okay. Finally, our last topic are the custom design your own packages. And we'll spend the rest of the time on this. What are we talking about exactly? Different people call them different things. Build your own, design your own, a la carte. And I have an example which we'll work through. We'll work through a couple of different examples. It's this sort of thing. Build your own package. The customer hits add to cart, and they can customize each of, well, we'll call them panels. We'll call them panels. Those four, well, they're 8x10s at the top. By clicking the different options, they can select the different options, they can customize what they're getting as part of this package. So how do you do this? Well, let's go back to here. First thing I want to stress is you don't actually need package templates. You don't actually need package templates to do that customized build your own package. What you do need are pack layouts and items, and then you put relevant information to TS admin. It's just pack layouts and items, which has been around for 100 years in Neopack. You're essentially online, you're doing this. Let me go to my job. All you're doing, you've got a kid, you're starting, say, with an 8x10. All they're doing online is the same as you can do in point and click, 8x10, and then swap in different items into that 8x10. That's all those a la carte packages are. The principle behind them, the concept behind them, is you're starting with your base layout, 8x10 normally, and they are doing the equivalent of my clicking, of then putting different items into that 8x10 to customize their offer. That's all that is. So let's be a bit more specific. So this particular package, I've done just that. I've forgotten about customer package templates. We are just using normal live rendering here. We have 4 8x10 products, and you can just see them there. There's 4 8x10 products. They hit add to cart, and they can choose different things for each of those 8x10s. This is the equivalent of you in point and click mode choosing an item, because that's exactly what they're doing. So let's break it down a little bit further. The panels up the top, let's call them panels, they are your Neopack layout. In this example, they are just simply an 8x10. They're simply an 8x10, and I will prove that fact to you. It's just an 8x10. You see up here, templates, 8x10, PLT. Okay, so that's our starting point. We need to add that to TS admin, and we need to add that once for each panel. Once for each panel. So if I go to TS admin, you've done this as well. You go into products and you add your products in there. You add that template in, and I'm sure you've already got an 8x10. So let me find my ones. Okay, so here are my 4 products. 8x10 for panel 1, 8x10 for panel 2, panel 3, panel 4. The code is irrelevant, doesn't really matter what you call the code. The description does matter, because the description for that product is what they see in the options window. The description is what they see in the options window. So again, when we hit add to cart, see this description? Choose your first product from the following options. Choose your second product from the following options. That description is this. Okay, so that's where that comes from. It's the description for that product. Notice the template these 4 products are calling. It's all the same template. It's just a template, same key. It's just my single 8x10 template. That's all that is. You need to save templates in a path where it can find it, of course, but you already know that. Upload, and you end up with this result. No package template needed. So why do we need package templates? Well, we need package templates just to make the whole thing look nicer, but it's optional. Before I get to package templates, let me show you a variation of that theme. Have a look here. Same sort of thing, no package template involved yet. We have 4 panels, 4 8x10s, but notice the starting point is different. The starting point is different. We've done that by applying a different default item to the template. Again, this is nothing to do with iOS really now. We are just applying different default items to my 8x10s. Let's have a look again. If I open here, 8x10.1. Okay, 8x10.1, file properties. Its default item is just an 8x10. So in the absence of the customer doing anything, it's going to pull in an item called 1-8x10, and you'll see an 8x10. The next template, 8x10-2, for the second panel, file properties. Here the default item is 257s. It will, by default, pull in an item whose name is 2-5x7. And same for product number 3. File properties. It's calling in an item that's 1/6x8 10 minis. That's the name of the item, the actual file name. And finally, the fourth one is 20 minis. So that's how we end up with a different starting point. You just put in here in the file properties the name of the default item that you want. Then when you hit add, well, even before you hit add to cart, you can see it's played into that 8x10 hole the default item straight away. So we've got a different starting point. When we hit add to cart, you can change that. You can change the default. The names in the orange bubbles, they are the names of your items. They are the actual file name. So when you're naming your items that get toggled into here, keep that in mind. This is what the customer is going to see, 1/6x8, 2/5x7s, whatever the case may be. So they are the names of the items. Okay, there is even group. You think, well, how did you do that? How did you do that? Remember, you can use the add page, and even items support the add page. Even items support the add page object. I'll show you. Okay, if I do open, I have an item that's called group. Remember, the names in the orange bubbles are the names of your items, your PITs. I have an item called group. On there is just the add page object, and it's calling in a static comp. So you can actually put you can put comps and neogroup groups on an item and have them as part of your options that rotate in and out. So just going back, each line is a product in TS admin, and then inside the bubbles, the names are the items. So we're combining a Neopack layout with items. The descriptions here are different to what you saw before. These ones say select the product you'd like for the first panel, select the product you'd like for the second panel. They are different products than what we saw earlier. So if we go to TS admin, and you see they're here, 8.10.1, 8.10.2, 8.10.3, 8.10.4, and the description for each, which is different to the descriptions of the ones below. Now notice these 4 are calling in different templates. We're starting with 8.10.1, then 8.10.2, 3, and 4. So here it's calling in 4 different templates. The reason we need 4 different 8x10 templates is because we want to have different default items for each one. If we don't want different default items for each one, we can do what we did below and just use the same 8x10 template as your base into which the items rotate. So I hope I pointed out to you that you don't actually need package templates to do this. So why have this discussion is part of a package template webinar. It's because you tend to use package templates, again, just to go round in full circles to make the whole thing look nicer. Just to have it look nicer, put in some descriptive text, and then you can use previews. You can put graphics on the package template which serve as previews for the items. Because the orange bubbles are just orange bubbles with a file name in there. They're not actually seeing the item. But if you put a graphic that represents the item, the option, on the package template, when you hit add to cart, they can relate. They can say, okay, my minis is that one, 257s is that one, my 6, 8, and 10 minis is that one. So that's the reason you wrap the whole things up in package templates, is to make it look nicer. I have another example, courtesy of Steve, thank you. Same concept. Here it's only a 3-panel package. You can see we've used 3 different 8x10s because they have different defaults to start with. And on the package template, there's an iconic representation of what each of the items are. And when we hit add to cart, the names inside the orange bubbles are the names of the items, and they relate to the graphic that has been put on the package template. That's why you use the package template. So how do you make this package template? Same way as you did before, and here is where you must use the add page, because it needs to call in, each panel needs to call in a product. Again, I will show you one of these templates. Mode, template designer. Okay, so here's the 4 panels. They aren't image holes. These things aren't image holes. They are the add product, the add page, and I'm adding a product. Product number 1 for panel 1, product number 2 for panel 2, and so forth. And then if you look at the offer's simple. The product number 1 is the product 810 panel 1. We saw that in the products tab of TS Admin. Panel number 2 is product number 2, which is choose your second product, and so forth. That's set up your offer. Now, that's all been a bit heavy, but it is not difficult. And possibly the best thing I can do for you is what I've done for a lot of people, and some of them are in this webinar now, and they're probably going to nod their head in furious agreement. The best thing I can do for you is send a set of templates to you. So I can send you this template, for example, and the components templates, everything that goes with it, and you can reverse engineer it, watch this video over again, and have it next to you, and you'll understand it in no time, because it really is just taking Neopak point and click and bring it online. That's really all it is. And I think Steve and Ryan, etc., some of the people that I've given this to start with are now doing some really nice looking package templates. It is not difficult. I've probably made it sound harder than it really is. So we go back to here. Now, having spent the last 15 or 20 minutes talking about using package templates to do these design and build your own, this is one of the things that will very definitely change in iOS 3. So you won't use this methodology, this using of items to do these design your own packages. It will be handled far more inherently. You won't have to do this with iOS 3. But that's, like I said, months away. And in between now and then, if you want to do these quite popular offerings, that's the way you do them. And with that, I think we're done. So let me have a look at the questions. What is the Brad is asking, what is the default for the settings.ini file? Brad, I don't remember, but it is smaller than what I use. I can certainly let you know, but it is not these. They're not in the 2:1, and they are smaller than that. But I don't know what the default is, so I don't know what yours is, for example, if you haven't changed it. Ryan, a note when doing this, you will have to test on each hole whether to use fit, fill, or stretch as the labeled image hole. Yep. When you are putting, I think Ryan is referring to putting the label in behind an image hole so that you can use it with a fixed image for pre-ordering. Yeah, obviously you need to test. You always need to test anything you do when you make new templates, and then fiddle around with the fit, fill, or stretch, because your fixed graphic may not be in the same ratio as the images that you're photographing. And that's exactly my case when I used the image of that girl with the buck tooth, missing tooth on the white background. It wasn't in the same aspect as my images, my subject images. Therefore, I think I had to use the fill. Mark wants me to explain item tags. Okay, you probably saw when I was in here, item tags. Item tags is saying, for this particular Neopak layout, I am in a layout here, a Neopak pack layout, the 8x10, item tags PT. What that means is this Neopak layout will only accept items that have a matching tag. The items themselves will need a tag of PT, and you can have several tags. If I open up a different one, I hope Steve doesn't mind I open up one of his. There's 7x10 file properties. You can see he's got different tags in it, a different tag in it. And if I open up the items that go with Steve's package template, the item will have a tag. So if we open the items, for example, that's probably not a good example. It's just a simple, sorry, let me just find a good one. That one, for example, whatever that combination was, file properties, you see the item itself. Now this is an item template, it's got a tag. That means they match. So that layout I opened earlier will accept this item. And you use that to restrict which items are available to that layout. Because as you know with iOS, it uploads all the items that are relevant in the path. And if you only want some items to be offered for this package, obviously you only want some items to be offered for this package, but not others, you do that by tags. Because you may have another tag package where, with the calendar, for example, and you're offering different calendar designs as items. So those items, you don't want them to be offered with your designer package. You only want them to be offered with your calendar. Therefore, you have matching tags. For your calendar layout, you have a certain tag, and the calendar items, or the different designs, you have tags that match. Then when we come to design your own, it will ignore the items that belong to the calendar. When we go to the calendar, it will ignore the items that belong to the build your own because the tags don't match. That is also the concept of item tags. There is a good knowledge base document on that if you want more information on item tags. But essentially, as soon as you put a tag into your layout, it will only accept items with the same tag. Explain item tags. Okay, so not many questions, unless I've missed some. Does anybody else have any design tips? Steve says they are a dark art, but worth it. Why are they a dark art, Steve? They aren't that difficult, are they? They take a bit of design nous, which is something photographers don't really have. So these are. I think package templates are things that need to be designed by your creative person, by your graphics arts person, not necessarily your timestone person. Once you get your head around it, all makes sense. I agree, but that's the same as anything. You really only need to make one, and then you'll work it out. And do some of the tips used, like shrinking your graphics and whatnot, work also on customer views? Yes. So you mean the customer version of a template, of a Neopak template? Absolutely. Keeping in mind that is a single template. So it's your printing version and your customer version in the same file. So if your printing version will have heavy graphics on there, the file size is going to be determined by the printing version. Even if you shrink the graphics down on the customer version, it's still going to be a big file. So it won't help necessarily with uploading, but it will help with online rendering, because it's only got to render the small graphics not the big graphics. So yes, and it's a good habit.